From schoolmaster to discernment. The tithe, conscience, and the authority of Christ. The New Testament does not merely announce that the law has ended. It explains why the law existed and what replaces it. This transition is essential for understanding the tithe under Christ. Paul states the purpose of the Mosaic Law plainly. Galatians 3:24. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. The law functioned as an external instructor. It governed behavior through command, obligation, and enforcement because inward governance had not yet been established. Its role was preparatory, not final. Paul then draws a decisive boundary. Galatians 3:25. But after that faith has come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. This is not rhetorical. It is administrative. Once faith governs, the mechanism of command must give way to another form of governance. Hebrews identifies what replaces the schoolmaster. Hebrews 5:14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. Maturity is not defined by stricter obedience, but by exercised discernment. The law trained compliance. The new covenant trains judgment. A schoolmaster decides for the child. Maturity requires the ability to judge rightly without compulsion. This distinction applies directly to the tithe. Under the Mosaic covenant, the tithe belonged entirely to the schoolmaster system. It was commanded. The amount was fixed. Enforcement was external. Discernment was unnecessary. The tithe trained obedience, not maturity. But once faith has come, Hebrews 5:14 makes clear that growth requires use, active, repeated moral judgment. This cannot occur where action is predetermined by command. A command removes the need to discern and therefore halts the very maturity the new covenant is designed to produce. This explains Paul's insistence that new covenant obedience must pass through conscience. 2 Corinthians 9:7. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, not of necessity. Necessity refers to external obligation, not emotional reluctance. Paul excludes it because obligation belongs to the schoolmaster phase. Discernment cannot operate under compulsion. Paul underscores the seriousness of conscience in his warning about meat offered to idols. 1 Corinthians 8:7-12. When ye sin so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Christ. Here, the action itself is not sinful. The knowledge of the strong believer is correct. The offense is overriding conscience. Paul elevates this to sinning against Christ himself, establishing that conscience is Christ's jurisdiction under grace. Applied to the tithe, the issue is no longer situational offense but structural damage. When giving is commanded, conscience is overridden for all believers. The need to discern, purpose, and be persuaded is removed. Compliance replaces faith. The senses are not exercised. Maturity is stalled. The authority for this shift is not Paul's preference but Christ's priesthood. Hebrews 7:12. For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. Melchizedek represents a higher order than Levi. No command is recorded. No statute is imposed. No enforcement is described. Giving is offered willingly and recognized by faith. Abraham's tithe to Melchizedek was not obedience to law, but response to revelation. Hebrews uses this event to demonstrate the inferiority of the law and the superiority of promise, not to reinstate the tithe as command. This is confirmed later. Hebrews 7:19. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto God. That better hope governs new covenant giving. Hope, not command. Faith, not statute. Discernment, not enforcement. To reintroduce the tithe as a command under grace is therefore to cross covenants improperly. It places mature sons back under a schoolmaster, replaces exercised discernment with mechanical obedience, and contradicts the authority of Christ's priesthood, which governs by promise rather than coercion. Giving continues under the new covenant, but not as law. It proceeds from faith and conscience, not obligation. Integrated summary. Galatians 3 identifies the law as a temporary schoolmaster governing immaturity through command. Hebrews 5:14 defines maturity as exercised discernment developed through use. Paul warns that overriding conscience even with correct action is sin against Christ. Hebrews establishes Christ's authority after the order of Melchizedek, where obedience flows from promise and hope rather than statute. Together, these texts show that a commanded tithe belongs to the schoolmaster phase, while new covenant giving belongs to maturity. To impose the former under grace is not fulfillment, but regression.